Put your hand down. You don't know anything about me.
Who are you, Terry?
I had an early exposure to pornography, and I was addicted to pornography as a kid.
What's the most hurtful thing someone has ever told you?
Man, I'm telling you, dude, when she said that, I was like, and what I do today determines what I'm going to be tomorrow.
How was your relationship with your parents growing up?
One of my earliest memories is him knocking my mother out.
When was the last time you hugged your dad?
The fact that my mother was so strict saved my life.
How did you manage years after to get out?
And I had to look at that picture. I said, is there anything wrong with that little boy? No.
What do you feel your children need to hear? So, me and Terry are one of those stories that we meet and we quickly shoot. Some people take a year or two or three. This one just worked out, the stars aligned, and I'm happy, and I hope you get to see Terry beyond the movies and beyond everything you see online. You get to know him as a human because he has a wonderful, rich story. I hope you enjoyed it.
I did. This is awesome, man. Thank you.
I'm glad too.
Thank you, brother.
I'm glad.
Oh, my brother.
So if you know him, I hope you love him more. And if you don't know him, follow him, support him. And he's pushing a lot of good messages in this world. So be one to share. Enjoy.
God bless you.
All right, man. Okay. Hey, Terry.
All right, how you doing?
Question is for you. How are you really doing?
I'm doing very, very well. I'm very thankful. I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful to see you. I was a fan. I got to see some of your stuff, back in America, and then to meet you in Abu Dhabi, and I saw you. I was like, oh my God, there he is. And it was just really cool. And that's how I know it's destiny sometimes.
Yeah, I believe that.
You know?
Yeah. And it was nice to see you, and to see that also a dear friend is our friend, which is Thierry.
Yeah.
So it was nice to see both of you there, you know?
You have to know, Thierry and Henri, our friendship started years ago. And it's so funny because, I'm an American football player, right? I didn't know how big he was. I'll be honest. Because, in America, we're in a bubble. We don't get, we call it soccer, but football he plays real football, right? And I was actually at Tony Parker and Eva Longoria's wedding in Paris. This was years ago. And, I saw some of the celebrities, some of the people, and I got to meet Thierry there. And it was wild because I thought, oh, this is a nice guy and the whole thing. And then after I met him, he left. But I saw that he had 5 security cars and a phalanx of people following him all over. And then David Beckham had a phalanx. I was like, wait a minute, this guy. But see, this is one thing about me and Thierry, is that I think that's how we became really friends, because it wasn't about football. It was just about me and him. We talk about life, we talk about kids, we talk about family, we talk about life after sports. We talk about what we're going to do, how we're going to be better people, how can we help, the people that we are around, the people that we love. It's just real talk. And it doesn't have anything to do with acting or sports or anything. Man, that's my brother, man. He's like my brother. And every time I get a chance to see him, I'm like, it's my homie.
Nice. Yeah, we'll send him a picture after this. He'll be happy. So my next question is, who are you, Terry?
Wow. Oh, that's a deep, deep question. I say, first and foremost, I'm a man. I'm a man. I'm proud to be a man. Lately in the world, everyone, men have been getting a bad rap. But I'm proud to be a card-carrying 100% man who is also a husband. I am a father. I'm an artist. I'm a creator. Um, I'm a dreamer, and I'm very, very passionate,
Mm,
extremely passionate. Um, when you talk about what when you say who I am, you have to go kind of ab- about what made me.
mm,
I grew up in Flint, Michigan, which was at the time when I was a kid, it was a very successful city.
mm,
General Motors was the number one corporation in the world. Literally, 80% of all automobiles were made by General Motors at the time. I mean, I grew up in 1968. And so the auto industry was all in Michigan, all in Flint, Michigan. My father worked for General Motors, my family members did. So it was really good. And then it all ended.
mm,
And when it ended, there was a huge upheaval. I mean, factories closing, people losing jobs. A lot of people went straight from working in the factories to selling drugs. So the city went through a tremendous shift.
mhm,
But on top of that, on top of what was going on outside of my home, inside my home, my father was very, very abusive to my mother. One of my earliest memories is him knocking my mother out. And all I could think of when I was a kid was, wait a minute, he says he loves her. What are you going to do to me? This is a person he says he loves and he cares for. And when she would say something he didn't like, he would haul off and sock her in the face. And I remember her getting knocked out. And I'm sitting there going, and that's all I needed to know. It was ruled by fear. And so I spent most of my young life afraid, um, very, very scared, just always scared of, because he was an alcoholic, which was one thing. He drank a lot. And so he would usually do that when he drank. But my mother was really, really religious. So she was a Christian, but it was very, very strict, extremely strict. So the dynamic in the house was he was mad at her and she was mad at him, and we were in the middle. And it just made it a very, very hard way to go because I was trying to please everybody. So I was going to be pious for my mother. Okay, I'll do this, I'll do that, and whatever you need, I'm Mr. I'm straight up there. I'll do good in school. I'll do this. And then for my father, I was like, you need a beer, anything to not make you angry, whatever you want. What do you want me to say? Because he'd come home, he'd be mad about something, and we'd have to get up. It was midnight. We fix it. Exhausting, you know. So I spent most of my young life doing that. Uh, but I also have to say this too, and I want to mention this because it is a worldwide problem right now that I do want to address as a man. Uh, I, being growing up in the United States, I had an early exposure to pornography, and I was addicted to pornography as a kid.
mm,
Um, when I was a kid, it was in the grocery stores. My uncles had it. You could watch it. It was wild because it wasn't hard to get. It was always somebody who had it. And I'll never forget because of my home lifestyle, it became an escape.
mm,
It was kind of like a drug. And I didn't drink, I didn't smoke, but pornography was just, and no one would talk about sex. No one would talk to me about what it was, the date, or everything. It was just all I saw was that. And it was a problem. When I say a problem, it was a secret that I didn't want anybody to know. And so what it would happen is I would feel very, very guilty, especially if someone gave it to me and I viewed it or whatever, and I would just feel like, because again, my mother's very religious,
mhm,
and my father never talked to me about any of it, so it was a conundrum, and it was a secret that I just vowed I wasn't going to tell, but it was a problem that I could never be like I couldn't get over it, and that is part of who I am. It I would like to say I'm a paradox in a
mm,
lot of ways, where in in the public I was this guy. Like even in high school and college, I was like a very achieving person, but then I had this another life that was dark and I was ashamed and I would feel very, very guilty about some things that I'd done. And then so to make up for that, I would do more and achieve more and work harder and be this person. and then eventually you fall again, and you just feel like, and so it was always putting up a front and a picture and an image that I had to hold up until it all fell down. And the biggest moment for me is when my wife said, "I'm leaving." And I was married 20 years. Now, I got married in 1989. I got married at the day before my 21st birthday. And you have to understand, here I am, I was on my way to the NFL. We were in college, the whole thing, and I thought getting married would solve all my problems. You know, it was like, okay, I don't never any point again. I got a real woman, and now I can help me get away from that kind of problem and the whole thing. But the problem was, it didn't. As soon as I got in an argument, I would go back, and I kept it as a secret for 20 years from my wife until it was so wild because she literally caught me at being unfaithful. And I said, and I was tired. I remember being tired of hiding, tired of being secretive.
Mhm.
And I just told her. And she was like, "I'm done." And I remember feeling almost relieved. It wasn't, it was weird. At the same time, it wasn't a thing where, you know, oh, okay, because I was in Hollywood. I was very successful doing my thing. Um, and Hollywood didn't care. They don't care if you lose your family. They don't care if you lose your whatever you got. They're like, hey, now we can put you in another movie. They don't care about your vices. They don't care about anything you got, as long as you keep up the image. The day the image fell is what the day my wife said, "I'm gone." And then I knew I had to rebuild my life. I had to rebuild who I was. And I discovered for the first time what real integrity is all about, because integrity it comes from the term integer, which means whole, which means one. And you can't, I was two people.
Mhm.
So I was this and I was this. And I spent the next 16 years after that 20 years point, which was 2010, becoming one person. And it's funny because a lot of people ask me, they say, "Man, Terry, it must be hard. How do you keep up your image?" I said, "The best way to keep up an image is not to have one. Be yourself all the time.
Mhm.
If you're not comfortable, say it. If you if you are comfortable, say it. If you appreciate people, say it. If you don't appreciate something, say it." It's nice ways to say it. It's not about being rude or anything like that, but it's also about being honest and being true. And that was something I had to discover because in my home growing up, I wasn't honest.
Mhm.
I mean, I had to be. My mother was strict, so I wasn't being me. I wasn't telling her what I wanted. I was doing whatever you want.
Mhm.
And my father would say something. I said, "Okay, what do you want? I'll be that, whatever you want." But I could never really be me, and I wasn't allowed to. I didn't know how. And that's not an excuse, but however, it's not an excuse. It's just a reality of something once I started to discover, because I I really had to start to understand who I was, not to get my wife back, but to become who I was supposed to be for real. And it was very, very important to me. I mean, I had come to terms with the fact that I had lost my wife. And now I was like, so how am I going to live this? I have to get better for me. I can't get better just to get people back. And, it's manipulation.
Mhm.
So what am I going to do? How am I going to live now? How can I have integrity for real? And that became, and it still is, every day of my life. I wake up and I say, how can I be the most integrous person I could ever be today? How can I have that integrity? How can I keep it?
Mhm.
And and in this journey, my wife decided to come back because she saw, and I was honest with her. And she saw, she said, "Wait a minute." And I want to bring this up because there was a moment that was kind of the turning point for all of us. Um, and me and my wife had started to work back together. And we were in Hawaii with my whole family. And I have 5 kids. I have 4 daughters, 1 son. and my son was little now. He was little at the time. He's 20 years old now, and he spilled his water on the table while we were eating. Now, normally, because I was this image oriented, I was very, very hard on my kids. It was like, ah, and they knew, they thought, oh my God, our son spilled the water. He's going to go off. And I'll never forget just cleaning up the water. And I said, no, that's okay, man. People make mistakes. It's okay. And then I looked over and everyone at the table was like, oh. And my wife looked at me. She said, you're not the same, man. You're not the same. You're different. Man, I'm telling you, dude, when she said that, I was like, because these things, you don't, there's no like, tests and says, okay, you now here, here's your diploma, here's your certificate. That was like a moment you realize I'm different. I'm changing. I'm changing. I feel better. I don't have guilt. I don't feel crazy. I don't feel shamed. I feel honest. I feel pure. I feel wonderful. You know what I mean? And it's wild because the problem is even now, with the internet, a lot of young men have had issues because they're doing things, they can see things that they're not supposed to see. Now, when I was a kid, there was no internet. I mean, again, I grew up in the 70s. But now, people can see things on their phone that is literally, you know, pushed on you. It's not, no one's looking now. And it comes right on your phone. It comes to you.
Mm.
And I like to call it's an assault. It's literally an assault on your eyes, on your brain, on your mind. And this business knows if they can get you young. When I first was exposed to pornography, I was 9, 10 years old. So they know if they can put this in your brain young, you'll always have a problem. And so my mission in life is not to demonize or tell people, you're right, you're wrong, you're wrong. It's like, look, man, this this is the choices you have to make. You have to now be able to say, how am I going to go through life? If you agree with this stuff, you got to know what you're putting in your brain. It's no different than smoking. For years, doctors said smoke is good for you. There was a whole thing. You know what? When you go to the Red Cross, they would go to war, and they would be in war time. They would give out medicine, bandages, and cigarettes on the battlefield. Here's your smoking until we realized what it was doing,
Mm.
and that's my job. Listen, if you want to smoke, go ahead, but let me tell you what it does.
Mm.
Let me tell you how it changes your view of human beings. Let me tell you what it's really doing to your brain and how it's rewiring everything you know about being human.
Mm.
We were never meant to be in this. We were never meant to see women or other human beings in this way. So, what, to me, it's no different than if you saw someone just eating pure junk food nonstop. Listen, you'll live, but how long?
Mm.
That's the real question. So when you say, who am I? Um, I'm this person who's been through a lot. I'm 57 years old. I've seen the business. I've seen the world, ins and outs and different things. But my job, and I always have felt my job, has been to tell my story and not point fingers at anybody else, but to tell what I've been through and be honest about my journey as a man. And if it helps you, all good.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And listen, if it doesn't apply to you, I totally understand.
Mm.
But I've had so many men that come to me and go, dude, man, I had the same issue. And I'm like, man, it's so cool. It's just a cool thing to say, to hear, and to be that person because I'm not ashamed. I feel great about talking about things that people are scared to talk about because I confronted it.
Mm,
You know what I mean? And that when we talked about this a little bit earlier, it's about meeting these challenges. You
mm,
know what I mean? Testosterone comes from meeting challenges, from waking up and say, wait a minute, who am I going to be?
mm,
I get to decide that. You know, you don't leave that up to anybody else. You know, I get to decide who I am today and who I'm going to be tomorrow. And what I do today determines what I'm going to be tomorrow. You know what I mean?
mm,
The workout is not for now. The workout is for 20 years from now.
mhm,
You know what I mean? The
mm,
food you eat is not for today.
mm,
It's for when you're running around in a year. How are you going to be feeling? How are you going to be looking? And so that's my thing, man. And I always want to be that person who inspires and
mm.
I love making people happy, man. You know what I mean? Making people smile, um, but also talking about real stuff. You know, talking about real things like what we're doing right now. I know you only asked one question,
I
and
love it
I'm
though.
still going.
But this is what I love, Terry, about my show. When I did TV, I couldn't stand time limits.
Uh,
And you know TV, you know it
yeah,
more than
yeah.
me.
Okay, we'll be right back. It's
And
over.
I'm like, I was just getting started, and the guy was going to say something.
Yeah,
So I said, in my show, zero time limits. 1 hour, two, three, four, I don't care.
yeah,
As long as we're giving value and somebody's being authentic and we're dancing along, I'm good.
yeah,
We don't need to stop it. And that's where the treasure lies.
yeah.
Without telling you, and you could see it sometimes, and if you're interviewed on TV, you could see they're asking you the
Yo,
question, they're like, and I'm
it's the
like,
worst
so that's why
interview.
I always stay.
No, no, it's good, but I've seen them where they're like, you're like, okay, and
I
I know to be
hate
quiet,
it.
you know.
I don't
But
like
thank
them.
you, thank you.
Something I love about your character that I got to know is addressing every elephant, unicorn, dragon in the room. And I think it's so interesting. And my show is known for discussing taboo topics.
Hmm.
And I don't like to even call them taboo because they're not meant to be taboo.
Right.
If we're going to talk about rape or molestation or depression or suicide or
Yep.
pornography or incest or
Yep.
as long as they're taboo, we're not helping anyone.
Right.
But
Right.
and where they're only big in our head. Like sometimes I'm sure that somebody watches an AB Talks episode, they're like, I can't believe they talked about pornography addiction.
Right.
But we just normalized it.
Right.
We
Right.
made something that seemed like a huge monster in your head that
Yep.
we just made like we really sprayed it with something and we minimized it to something like that's why the guys come to you. They're like, I
Yep.
can't believe you just talked about.
I know.
Thank you, like for making it like I'm not alone anymore.
Right. Look,
And
man.
that's power.
Well, you know, that's first of all, if you have a dirty room and you hide it, it gets dirtier. Like the dirt doesn't go away.
Mm,
You know, it gets moldy. It gets
mm,
bad. It starts to smell. You can't hide a dead rat somewhere. You know what I mean?
so
It's you gotta the whole thing. You have to expose it.
yeah.
You have to clean it.
And
Uh,
that's what a lot of houses, Terry. I always used to talk about societies, how a lot of parents, just because they didn't know how to deal with something, they would shove it under the rug until the rug is a huge mountain or a
Yeah,
hill in your room. And you're like, oh, there's nothing there. And you're like,
yeah.
there's something huge under that rug.
That's
And they're like,
right.
no, we're good.
That's right.
No, there's a huge lump in your rug.
That's right.
We see it. And putting 10 rugs over it does not make it go away.
That's
So
it.
that's what I love that we get to do, me and you, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so important.
No, it's good. It's good.
I'm okay. I'll ask you an artistic question since you're an
Yeah, that's
artist.
great. That's great.
Um, if you have a white canvas, empty, and I asked you to draw your current mental state, what would you draw?
Wow. Wow. I would draw, first of all, I'm always thinking about my shape. So I would draw a bald head, muscular man.
Okay.
Because this you have to understand too. I as a kid, I spent a lot of time in, I wasn't allowed to do a lot. I wasn't allowed to go to the movies or dance or do all that stuff, but I could draw.
Mm,
And what I would do is draw comic books.
mm,
And so I was obsessed with muscles, even as a kid. And I always wanted to be strong. And this is another thing I kind of go back and this is after therapy and listen, just kind of thinking about where I came from. It was all to an attempt to protect my mother.
Mm.
You know, I wanted because I was very, very young. I mean, I was probably 5 years old when I saw this violence, and I couldn't do anything. I mean, you're talking about a man who felt a little boy who feels completely helpless because your father is just—he's a giant. He's the Hulk. You know, my father's not a small man, so I was like, oh, and all I could think about was one day I have to get strong. I have to be strong
Mm.
because I may have to deal with someone like this. So I always have been working on my body, working on my shape, and wanting to be fit. Wanting I used to do sit-ups until my stomach would cramp, you know, and this is like 10 years old. And I remember just, getting on this, put my feet on the edge of the bed and doing ab work. And this is back in the day when it was no gyms. They were literally like, you had basketball courts and the whole thing, but weightlifting was kind of strange,
Mm.
Uh, there was Arnold, and even Arnold was a little, everybody was like, what is he doing? Like they thought you were a
Mm.
freak.
Mm.
But I was like, that's muscles. Like those are the muscles I want. I was a kid who ordered those workout books that were at the back of the comic book. So they would say, "Tired of getting sand kicked in your
Mm.
face?" And I would order workout books, and they would have drawings of people doing exercises,
Mhm.
not pictures, drawings. And so I would always me and my brother would do it together, and we were like, "Oh man, hold my legs," and then we'll pick up this, and so that's what I would draw.
Mhm.
It was just always me, because this is another thing I have to say. I'm really, really big on ideals, meaning you have to know what it is you want. Most of my issues, any issue I ever had, came from not knowing what it is I wanted.
Mm.
Because if you don't know, when it comes, you miss it because you don't know what you want. You haven't made a decision. So what I started to do was literally write down my goals, write down everything I wanted in my life. I want this and this. I am this kind of person. I am this and this. So it's kind of a drawing for your brain.
Mhm.
And so I started to, everything that I'm doing right now started as a written confirmation. I am a successful actor. I would write this stuff down. I am host of one of the biggest shows in the world. Everything you see has been written, and it's scary uh, because I can go back 20 years to logs and things that I wrote down, and I hit them all of them. And I usually do top 10. So you don't have days, you only have time to probably write down the top 10 things you want to do. And I hit them all. So it's kind of like a drawing.
Mm.
And so as I do this with my shape, I am in the best shape possible. I have my weight, how I want to look, where I want to be, and so, and then it's funny because your whole day gets determined off of what you wrote. You realize I can't overeat that because I wrote down,
Mm.
it kind of keeps you in check. You know what I mean? You watch yourself all day.
Mm.
And I tell, I want to be, I don't want to be an angry person. I want to be a happy person. And so you go about your day learning not to be angry about
Mhm.
everything. You know what I mean? It's like before it comes. Because if you don't,
It's
you're not prepared, you can get snap on people and you don't even know why you're doing it. But you have to have that before you get there.
I think that's so true because your self-image is just an image that you've drawn internally of yourself, and you can actually edit it. So for example, if I tell you, Terry, you're always angry, you're like, yeah, that's me, my childhood, everything, I'm just an angry person. You just told you
That's it.
what you are.
That's
But
it.
if you're like, I'm a bit less angry, that's a new statement.
That's it.
I'm a bit less, so less angry.
Yep.
You just told yourself, I'm less angry than last week.
Yep.
So you just edited something about your self-image. I'm not as angry as 2025.
Right. And you go
And
right into
you
that
prove it. You're
box.
supposed to then justify that new statement. I'm a calmer person. I'm a calmer leader. I'm a
Yeah.
caring father.
Yep. Yep.
And if I say no, my father was like this, I'm like this. Sorry.
Yep.
Okay, I just confirmed. I
You basically
confirmed
balled up
that.
the paper and said,
Yeah.
that's not me.
So you need to sell you to you,
It's powerful.
you
It's
know?
very powerful, man. What you
Yeah.
say about yourself, I like to call it's called self-talk, how you speak to yourself.
Mm,
And I've said this before and other things, but it's really, really true, man. I mean, you should never ever speak bad about yourself. Ever. I mean, the thing is, there's enough of the world that's gonna tell you that, a lot of people who don't even know you are gonna say a lot of bad things about you because it's easy.
mm,
But if you agree with them, dude, you really are, now it's 2-on-1. You know what I mean?
mm,
And I said, man, I'm just never gonna do it. I'm never gonna be saying bad stuff about me. I say, listen, because I know what happens is you can get into guilt. You can get into things you've done wrong. Yeah, but this is the thing, and this is the truth. No matter what you did, and I mean, people have done some bad stuff, but you were doing the best you could with the wisdom you had at that time. Meaning, if you had a little bit of wisdom, that's all you had. You were just doing
mm,
what you had to do. And the more wisdom you get, the more you change.
mm,
The more your attitude changes, the more your activity changes, the more what you do changes. The key is to get wisdom
mm.
because listen, I knew guys that sold drugs because they felt that was all they could do. And it was bad. They were tearing their neighborhood up, tearing their family up. They would go to jail for 50 years. And they go, I did the best I could, but they just weren't wise.
Mhm,
You know what I'm saying?
mhm.
And if you had a little more wisdom, you would know. You would know
You
that
would
this
know better.
diminishing returns, it doesn't work.
Mm,
You know what I mean? You're putting everything in jeopardy.
mm.
So the key is to get wisdom, man. And this bad thing I did, I just wasn't wise. You know what I mean? But then you turn around and now I know. Now I know. Now I have another chance to do right.
You think your dad needed more wisdom? So you click pause. Why do you click pause? I hear this often that people that watch the show, they click pause when I ask a question because they ask it of themselves or their friends or their family, and then they have a conversation. So me and the team, we worked for over 2 years to do over 70 questions here with a die and some QR codes where I pop up. But the point was to take the conversation outside the white studio. We're blessed to have these conversations, but what if we want these conversations to go to different homes and different friend groups and colleague groups and really have intimate, deep, strong conversations that maybe you've never had before? So that's why we created this game, and it's had very good feedback. People love it, and I hope you love it too. Try it out and let us know. The website is there, the link is in the caption. Enjoy it and let us know.
Oh yeah. Listen, first of all, when I look at what he did and where he came from, see, this was another thing. I
Mm,
went digging into his past. His father, worked on a chain gang in deep down in Georgia, where he was in prison and they work you all day, where you're working building roads and the whole thing. And he used to have to be on the school bus and drive past his father every day working on a chain gang and was quiet because he didn't want the other kids to know. Changes you. He was going through all kinds of stuff. And what happened was, as he grew up, as he started getting his father died when he was 19. And so he didn't have an example. And so he started to drink. And that was his escape.
mm,
So I'm not saying that, and I'm not giving him an excuse. I'm not saying that, but I started to understand what he thought. And he moved up to Flint, Michigan, got a job, and he thought, that's it. I'm doing good. And everything in his life told him, you got to control these women. You got to do this. And if your wife's not happy, what's wrong with her? But we know more now.
mm.
You know what I mean? We know more now. Back then, it was like, hey, get her in control. Back then, you know what happened? And this was crazy. The police used to come. The police used to come to our house, and she'd be on the floor, and she'd be bleeding and whatever, and they'd be like, hey, don't hit her anymore. And they would leave. The police didn't see anything wrong with that. That's the era. They didn't tell him he was wrong. They just said, you might not want to hit her so much.
Mhm.
I was like, wow. But now we look at that like, hey, no, we know
Mhm.
more now. You know what I mean? If you know more, you can do more. But he was doing the best with what he had. The whole world was doing the best with what they had. To me, it's like, hey man, yeah, the difference is record players or Spotify. You know what I mean? Now we can play 10,000 songs like that. Back then you had one album and you would play it all day. I mean, you can do better now.
Mhm.
We have more choices now, you
Yes.
know? So
Mhm. How was your relationship with your parents growing up, mom and dad?
my mom, like I said, with her being very religious, it was hard. It was hard because I wanted to do movies. And I always saw. Now, I want to tell you this: I was not an actor.
Mm.
I wanted to get behind the scenes. I wanted to create. First time I saw Star Wars, I said, "Oh my God!" I wanted to create. I was an artist, painting,
Mhm.
left-handed, right brain, painting, drawing. I had an art scholarship before I had a football scholarship. I've just started to put a lot of my art on my Instagram
Mhm.
lately, and people have been reacting like, "What? You did this?" But that's what I was known for.
Mhm.
Um, and when I would get cut from football teams, I would go back in the locker room and I would ask the players if they wanted their portraits painted. And they would go, "Really?" And then I would show them my portfolio and they would go, "Whoa, you're good." And I would get money to do that.
Nice.
But I always had this ability. Like, I mean, it was something that I could really escape. And I was going to use it for movies, like do movie posters and all this stuff. And when I retired and moved out to LA, I was trying to get behind the scenes. And a friend of mine invited me to an audition, and I ended up getting the audition, and I didn't know acting would be it.
Mhm.
Now, my mother, by the way, loved the fact that I was an artist, but she felt like being in movies and things was too worldly, so it was a real problem. And I could dance, I was having fun, and she was like, "Oh, you can't do that." And so it was hard. I would sneak away and this thing, I would sneak and go to dances and we'd be break dancing. It wouldn't be dancing with girls. We spinning on the floor. And I would feel guilty
Mhm.
because I knew my mother didn't want me out there. You know what I mean? Like those kind of things, you go home and you know you're not telling the truth because it's still a lie, even though a lot of people go, "That's not wrong," but it was wrong if you're lying about it. But I couldn't be honest. So, you know what I mean? So it was a really
Mhm.
and then my mother, she was just like, "You're not dating because I don't want you to get any women pregnant." And I was like, whatever. And so it was a really like she was hard, man, very, very hard. Now,
Mhm.
I look at this other way.
Mhm.
Flint, Michigan was going under. Drugs, people getting killed. Movie New Jack City, that was like our city. I mean, young people running around with guns and Uzis and drug dealers and gang members and craziness. The fact that my mother was so strict saved my life. You see what I mean? Like I could complain and go, "Oh man, see, she never let me do anything." But if I would have been out there in the street and got shot, you know what I mean? But I never was
Mhm.
because she was very protective. And I look at these things like I needed that.
Silver lining.
You see? It's kind of like these things, when you ask me who I am, these things made me who I was. Now it was hard. Everything has good and bad to it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But in my father, he was just very, very hands off. He was
Mhm.
like, go work. He would go to work. He was two people. He was a work guy. He always worked, which was great. And then after work, he would go drink. And he would come home, he'd be a whole nother person.
Mhm.
And that was the guy we didn't like. I always liked my work dad because he was very, very, okay, I'm going to work. It's like, hey, okay. And then when he came home, oh, he was mad, he was drunk, he was sad, he would sit there and cry. And I was like, oh, so that was different.
Mm,
Um, so that was my thing. And so that made my desire to leave my home very, very imminent. Like I wanted to get out
mm,
very, very early. So I was probably 15 saying, they're already planning, when am I leaving? When am I getting out of here? And so I used football to get me out. It was wild because I never really was an athlete. My father hated sports.
oh,
It's really strange.
mm,
He didn't like football, didn't like anything. He wanted me to go to the army. And I was like, I'm not military. And he said, well, only one in a million get to go to the NFL. So well, I'm one in a million. I'll never forget telling him that. I'm one in a million and I'm going. And so my mission, and I was very passionate. I said, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get there.
mhm,
And like I said, like I told you, I would do my sit-ups until my stomach cramped up and the whole thing. I worked out. I ran around that city. I did everything I needed to do. And I ended up getting an art scholarship and then walked on to the football team, tried out, and earned a football scholarship and and then I went on and was drafted into the NFL in 1991 because I was just an athlete. I wasn't that good a football player, but I was a great athlete.
mm,
So I was able to do that, but I didn't really like football. I didn't. It was a way to get out of Flint, Michigan. How am I going to get? A lot of people use European football the same way. You know what I mean? Kids have been raised in these, schools playing football and the whole thing, but
mm,
they're like, hey, it's a way to see the world. It's a way to get some money and get out. I mean, I look at those guys in Brazil, man. It's like, wow, you come from the favela and you become a
mm,
superstar player, and now you're the worldwide. And they may not even like it now. You know what I mean? But
mm.
it's
It's
a
a
way
way
to get
out.
out.
Yeah.
Football, American football, was the same way with me.
Mm,
So going into Hollywood, and this is another thing I always like to say, is that you have no idea who you really are. You think you do, but you haven't been put in these positions. My wife and I, after we played in the NFL, I didn't make a lot of money, so I was just trying to start over again. And I went on this audition, and it was a TV show called Battle Dome, and I went in there, and I got it. And I was like, I'm acting now? But you have to understand, I had no choice because that was real money. I hadn't seen any real money in a long time, and I had to learn what I was doing.
mm,
And I said, I'm not gonna waste this. Just like football, I said, I'm not gonna waste this opportunity. And one turned into the next, that turned into the next. And I was learning on the fly. I didn't go to school for acting, I didn't study it. I just said, I would be on set and they would go, and action. And I did it because I had to. Like, because I don't want to go home. I studied my lines and did it and did it over and over again. And I'll never forget there was a guy named Michael Rooker. He's a really amazing actor. And he was in one of the first movies I did. I said, man, I'm having a hard time, man. He said, Terry, don't worry about it, man. He said, look, if you want a movie, he said, if your nose itches, just scratch it. And I went, because I would sit there and say the
mm,
lines like, no, 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 no. He said, no, 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 no. He said, just be real. He said, if your nose is itching, just say the line when you're scratching it. And I went, whoa. And it was like, I had people on set talking to me, giving me on
mhm,
all the advice. I learned on the fly. I learned by doing. And a lot of people forget this. Like, people think you have to go to school to know what you're doing. No, you can learn just by doing. Listen, if you want to do a podcast, just do one. You'll find out very quick
mhm.
what works and what doesn't. You know what I mean?
I bring the example of a bicycle. You can
Okay.
watch all the YouTube videos on how to ride a bicycle, and you'd fall on your face the first time. You know, so you need to get on it.
You need to see,
It doesn't matter how many
dude.
videos,
That's the best
books,
example.
whatever.
That is probably the
Yeah,
best example
yeah.
I've ever heard.
It's simple.
YouTube videos of riding a bike.
Yeah. You can read books. You can ask people how it is.
That's it.
You can watch YouTube videos,
Yes.
TikToks. You have to get on that bike.
Get on the bike.
Fall again. Core.
Whoa, 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 whoa. And
Uh,
all of a sudden,
mm,
magic.
yeah.
That was me. I was on a bike. And
Mm,
I was like, whoa. But let
Nice.
me tell you, man,
You learn.
25 years later,
Yeah. Without the hands.
wow, I'm like, no hands.
Wow. It's so true. We say in Arabic, اسأل المجرب ولا تسأل الخبير. Ask a trier, not an expert.
Wow, yeah,
Like somebody who's been trying it,
yeah,
ask that person,
yeah.
not a guy who's just an expert at it, but never tried.
Dude, and let me tell you something. This is another thing. As I was going on in my career, I bumped into a lot of people who went to school,
Mm,
okay? And they were telling me what you can do and what you can't do. And I was like, I mean, it was weird
mm,
because here I am acting with people who've been to these very prestigious schools. And they were like, no, no, we don't do that. And I was like, I do. You have to understand the biggest example of this, Old Spice.
mm,
Everybody in the world remembers Old Spice.
mhm.
And they were like, Terry, look, man, if you really want a career, you can't do these silly Old Spice commercials. They'll ruin you. You're not going to be. I was like, no, I'm doing them because this is stuff that I want to see. I
Yeah.
like it.
Mm,
I thought it was amazing. The first time it came out, man, it was, my abs were talking, and it was like power. I'm kicking over buildings, going crazy. I'm pec-popping. They were like, actors don't do this. I was like, well, I do.
mhm.
And it hit 10 years. It was all over the world. People were going, what is it? It changed advertising forever.
Mhm.
But if I'd have listened to those actors and all those school trained, you know,
Experts.
they would have pulled it from me. And I'm so glad. I'm so glad I was untrained. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Because I knew how to go with my gut. I knew to go with my instinct. Also riding that bike is also you start to feel, where am I going?
mm.
You know what I mean? I'm gonna go this way. Don't go there. And I was
You
rolling
know,
out.
that's such a good point. I think I'm a very good interviewer because I'm a mechanical engineer that never studied media.
That's it.
I'm unorthodox.
That's it.
And I'm not against the people who went to school. That's one way of doing media, like looking at the forecast, or they're trained for a certain way. But I would love to see a guy who does the forecast that's very different. He's like,
Yes.
okay, guys, let me tell you what's happening. Like, I would love to watch that forecast
Yes.
rather than a boring, like, you skip,
Oh,
like this is what I love about what you said is you were your own filter. As long as you thought it's authentic to you and it's true to you, like, and that's all they knew.
right.
They knew from certain books and certain things like we talked about, that's all you know at certain points, and you
Right.
do with the wisdom you have. Today, that same expert will use you as a case study.
Yeah.
It's like, marketing was this way. Then we had the Allspice campaign.
They do.
Now it's a case study.
Isn't it crazy?
Yeah.
Those same people go, well, this is why it worked.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh man, wait a minute,
You
wait a
didn't know
minute.
before.
But see, like you said,
Yeah.
man, the reason you're working, remember, man, it's heart. It's the heart. The phrase I've heard is use your heart, not your eyes. You know what I mean? It doesn't go off what you see. It comes from the heart.
Mm.
When it comes from the heart, when you ask a question from the heart, the whole humanity locks in like, yeah, I want to know that too.
Mm.
But when it's here, it's like, oh, he doesn't really care.
Mm.
You know what I mean? People will know. They can tell. When you
Yeah.
fit somebody sitting there and they're like, blah, 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 and then so what's it? It's like, why am I sleepy? Why? But when someone's really passionate, somebody's really like, hey, I don't know what this is. Talk to me.
Mm.
All of a sudden, it's amazing. And it is another thing I learned. And it's one thing I really got me. People are really scared of speaking in public.
Mm.
Okay, because it's the number one fear, second only to death. It's talking in public. But if you knew what people were thinking while you were talking, you wouldn't be afraid because they're not thinking about you. No, they're looking at you and they're going, I wonder what I'm going to eat tonight.
Yeah.
They're wondering, like, they're thinking about tomorrow. They're going, yeah, tomorrow I got to go meet with that guy. And you thinking they're thinking about you, and they think you're looking at their thing. Oh, I can't believe I had that on my shirt the whole time. And you know what I have to do? The big thing is I go, hey, and they go, whoa. I get your attention. Once I got it, now let's talk.
Mm,
And they go, oh, the hardest thing in the world is to keep people's attention
mm,
because they got other things to do. They got other things to think about. So when you're boring and you're like, man, 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 everybody's like, okay, I'm ready to get out of here. Yeah, but when you can do something, that's one way to, when I started hosting, I would walk out and I noticed people were like, okay, there's, and then I just did a spin. And everybody's like, wait, hey, wait a minute. You know,
mm.
they're like, why did he do that?
Yeah.
Or there's times I walk out and I actually pretend to trip. Oh, whoa, whoa. And I go, oh, what? And it wakes people up. You
Mm,
can see people there and then they sit up a little bit like, oh,
mm,
now I can talk to you. Now
mm,
your heart is open.
mm.
Now you have to understand, I'm not perfect, but you don't want perfect. If it's perfect, it's boring.
Not relatable.
It's not even relatable, man.
Mm,
People want to see it, man. You listen, your eyes aren't symmetrical. Everything about you is a little off. You know what I mean? One hand is bigger than the other.
mm,
That's God designed it this way. So it's interesting. If we were perfectly, it would be bizarre. You know
mm,
what I mean? So the goal is never perfection. The
mm,
goal is the heart. Are you leading with the heart? And this is one reason why I have noticed a lot of my performances and things have resonated with people because I don't know any other way to go. I just go with the heart.
mm,
I put my heart into everything. If I'm a bad guy in a movie, I put my whole heart into being a bad guy. If I'm a funny guy, if I'm a mean guy, if I'm a bad dude, if I'm a bother or whatever, I have decided. Like when I did Brooklyn Nine-Nine, I can tell you, I put my whole heart into all 8 years, every day, because I felt like I don't want to waste a moment. You know, I don't want to waste this time. I don't want to waste people's energy, people spending time to sit and watch you, and you mail in a performance and you don't
mm,
care. It's just disrespectful
mm,
because people are showing up for you. They're showing up. People to spend their time. Imagine someone says, "I'm going to spend a half an hour to watch you," and you just go, "Well, you know, you're supposed to be here." So it's
mm,
so disrespectful. Give people, respect people, and the success will come from that. I've always discovered that success comes from serving. You know what I mean? If you want to be rich, the way you get rich is to serve the highest and biggest amount of people. That's how
mm,
you do it. And it's funny because my son was on a television show, and it was on Nickelodeon. And he was a kid, and it was so great because he got to experience, being on shows and TV, and the whole thing. And I'll never forget. I showed him his check for the
mm,
first time, and he was like, "Whoa, I got that for a year." I said, "No, that's one episode." He couldn't believe it. And I said, "Son, you have to understand this. You know why this check is so big?" He said, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa." It's not your performance. It's because you are serving more people. I said, "Now, if you were in high school and you did a high school play, you get this amount of money. If you were in college and you did a bigger play, or you did just Broadway or New York City, you get this amount of money. But your show plays all over the world. And when your show plays all over the world, you're serving more people."
mm,
I said, "That's the only way you're going to make more money. If you figure out a way how to serve more people, you will always be able to make money." And he was like, "I get it. I get it." I said, "I felt that." You know what I mean? And that's my goal.
mm,
That's one reason why I'm here. That's one reason why I'm in Dubai.
mm.
I said, most Americans don't even have a passport. And I
Yeah.
decided, man, look, if I am going to be successful, I have to serve people in the Middle East. I have to serve people in Brazil. I have to serve people in South Africa, North Africa. I have to go to Europe. I have to get to where the people are. And dude, it has been probably the best thing that ever happened in my life, ever. You know, and I've had a lot of people who would dissuade me. They were like, "You don't want to go over there," and I'm going, "What? You never been. So how can you see?" That's another thing. It's like I asked them, "Have you been there?" No. I was like, "Okay," but they were watching the news and they saw something, and I was
Mm.
like, "No, I'm going," and I love it. I love, love, love
Humans are
being here.
humans, man.
I'm sorry.
Humans are humans
Yeah,
anywhere.
yeah.
Like, I was asked this week, what is one of the things that you learned from your show? I do think we have the most diverse show in the world because because I can speak two languages. So
Wow.
that already gives me a big advantage. And then we do some of them live translating also.
Mm,
Anyways, but I said one of the things I've learned is put me next to any human anywhere in the world. If I ask him, tell me about your childhood, what does love mean to you? What makes you feel good? What makes you feel bad? What's your best memory? What's your worst memory? What are you afraid of? Give us an hour.
wow.
Any human. Alaska, Taiwan,
Mm,
Saudi Arabia, London, UK, any, doesn't matter. Everybody has their story, and these ingredients apply everywhere.
that's right.
And
Wow.
then you notice there's so much. So when you come to here or you go there, you notice what Terry went through is relatable.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So humans are
I
humans.
love this, man.
Yeah,
That's why I always knew. I said, I gotta. I, I I always, I think I said, I think it's just destiny, man. I always just being here and the whole thing. And I made a special, when I reached out, I was like, I'm here, man. I'm here.
I'm
Let's
glad.
do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because I like your spirit, man. I see it
mutual.
and the whole thing. And I'm really happy for your success, brother.
Mutual, man. I'm happy for you. I'm happy to see your heart smile,
Oh, thank you, sir.
you know? Makes us young.
Yes, yes, it does.
Um, on a topic that we mentioned, but I want to, because we heard the issue. I want to know how you talked about getting addicted to porn at 9 years old.
Yeah.
How did you manage years after to get out?
Well, first of all, when my wife left, I had never been to therapy. Like I had never went to I actually went to a place. It was called Psychological Counseling Services, and it
Mm,
literally talked to me about um, what was going on. Because this is the thing. I had a friend. He gave me the best advice ever.
mm,
He said, "Terry," he said, "I can't guarantee you or promise you you're going to get your wife and family back." He said, "But you need to get better for you. And how are you going to get better?" And that was a question I had to ask. Like, because what happens is you tend to blame others.
mm,
Like I could have blamed my wife for my problem. I could have, well, you just didn't understand me, and then, or you can blame it on your past. You can blame it on, and then don't. But what you do is restate the problem. You just keep
mm,
restating it, and you don't fix it. See, remember, every problem has a solution. Every problem has a solution,
mm,
but it's up to you to find it.
mm,
It's not someone else's job to tell me. It wasn't my wife's job to tell me. It wasn't anybody, but I had to find it. So I went to this place to find out who I was. Like, okay, why even, you have to understand, I did not want to watch pornography, but I did it.
mm,
And I was like, why? See, that's the big thing. Like, I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm not doing it. But I kept getting drawn back. And you're talking about things that's there are so many people who are on alcohol, on drugs, they don't wanna do them. But all of a sudden you get withdrawal and you feel and you
mm,
use it as a coping mechanism. You don't know how to deal with hard feelings, hard things get difficult. You're like, "Okay, I just can't, life gets too hard." And I went to this place and the doctor said, first of all, and he didn't know me at all. He said, "Is your mother religious?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Was your dad an alcoholic?" I said, "What?" And I
wow.
said, "Yeah, that's probably the number one when they come see people who have this issue, those are the two things that most of these people have." And I went, he was reading my mail. He's like, literally, and then they started talking just about shame
Mm,
and what shame does. Because this is the thing. shame has always been taught as almost a good thing. But shame doesn't say you did something wrong. Okay, this is the first base thing is shame says you are wrong. Like you are bad.
Mm.
Now, think about this. If you feel like you're just bad and I have to cover it up, what happens is when you're done covering it up, you go back to bad. It sounds like a pig. You can dress it up, clean it up, but it's a pig. And the pig goes back to the slop.
Mhm.
But I thought I was just a pig inside because you hear, no, I'm just bad. I'm just a bad man. I hear, men, we just go back to the bad, being bad. And I believe it. Even I had religious things telling me, people were like, yeah, your nature, you're bad. And you got to get God to clean you up. Yeah, but if you feel like you are bad, how can you ever?
Mm.
And I realized something. It was something I did, but it wasn't something I was. You have to understand, honest, that changed my life. It changed everything. It was something I did, but it wasn't who I was. Before, it was who I was. You understand? I am this dude. I got to cover it up. No, I'm not that guy. In fact, if I change my behavior, I can get that out of here. I can be the real me. The term recovery, even when you're talking about people who are recovering from alcohol or drugs, you know what the term recovery means? It means to get something back, getting your life back. It means becoming the real you because all that other stuff covers you. It's just,
Mhm.
alcohol, drugs, pornography, whatever vice, it just covers you up. Now I was like, oh my God, I was wiping it off and I was the real me. And this is the real me. Brother, you got to understand how big that was. Because now it's like, I'm free. I don't have to do that. But before, I didn't have a choice. I didn't know. I said, man, I'm just bad. Oh, now they're going to see the dirt again. Because what happens is you think, oh, they're going to see the dirt. So you got to cover the dirt. No, no. What we have to do is get clean. Like I said, you can't hide dead rats. You got to get it off, get it away.
Mhm.
And now you're the real you. The real you doesn't do that, doesn't even need it.
Mhm.
And that was the watershed moment. And now everything else grew from that. Because at first you get tempted, you feel the need to go back. You feel it and you go, but that's not me. That's not me.
Mhm.
And see, remember how we were talking about saying things like this? Whatever you say. Before I'd be like, oh well, yeah, man, hey, I'm just a guy. But then I started to say, no, that's not me.
Mhm.
I don't do that. And all of a sudden you didn't do it. You won't. And one day turns into 1 week. It turns into a year. It turns into 20 years. You see? And people will say, well, how did you do it? How did you do it? It was how I saw myself. That's how you do it. Because the world will tell you you're guilty, you're shame. And listen, there was a lot of people that would be like, shame on you. You're and I was just going, well, you're talking about somebody else. Because that's not me.
Mhm.
The real me doesn't have to have that shame. If you hold on to the shame, it's called the shame cycle. And what happens is you can't get what you get out for a minute and you go right back. But when you get rid of shame and you're done with it, you're the real you.
Mhm.
And then I won't let anybody else shame me either. Because some people are like, well, you and it. It's like, man, put your finger down because you don't have anything to do with me. And it got real violent. There were a lot of people I had to confront and say, they would say, well, you did it. I'm like, put your hand down. You don't know anything about me. The real me doesn't do that.
Mhm.
And I had to fight for me. And this is another thing. I had a picture of myself, whew, on my computer, 6 years old. innocent, wonderful, beautiful. And my little front tooth was missing. And I'm there smiling. And I had to look at that picture. I said, is there anything wrong with that little boy? Is he bad? No. What is he? He is a wonderful young man. No porn, no nothing, no bad, no nothing. That's that boy. That's you. At no time in your life did you ever stop being that 6-year-old boy. He's here. He's right here. Now you got to protect him. I saw myself protecting my own little 6-year-old. People were blaming him. And I was like, don't talk about my son like that. Don't talk about me like that. You know what I mean? I wouldn't let anybody talk about my kids. So I wouldn't let anybody talk about you. People pointing at me. I was like, nope, that's not me. And I'm holding my own little boy. I'm 6 years old in myself. It's like I'm protecting him. I'm holding on to him. And men aren't taught to do that. Men are like, well, I'm grown now. No, we're all kids. Listen, as smart as you are right now, you don't know it all. Let me tell you, the difference between you and a kid in regards to knowledge, you don't know the world. You're still a child. We're all still learning. There's so much we don't know. It's as if we started at 1 years old right now. There's so much, it's too much to know. So just stop. Stop acting like a grown-up. And the big thing is not to be childish, but we need to be childlike. You know what I mean? And a kid, he can say, man, it's just like my little son when he stepped over the water. It's okay, man. You made a mistake. Clean the water up. It's okay.
Mhm.
Before I'd have been like, hey, man, you're bad. You're bad for doing that. Because I wouldn't have did that to myself. And my family saw it like, he didn't put shame on him. Because I knew how to not put shame on me. You see what I mean? I don't put shame on you. I don't put shame on anybody. Everybody's learning. Everybody's doing it. And look, and some people that rude, whatever, hey, I just count it to ignorance.
Mm.
You just don't understand. I don't hang people that do evil. I just don't hang with you. Hey, man, you'll figure it out. It's its own reward.
Mm.
You know what I mean? I don't have to teach lessons and that's not my job. My job is not to tell everybody what to do. You know what's funny? The phrase I like to say is like, being the boss is not telling everybody what to do. Being the boss is doing everything you told yourself to do.
Mm.
You see how that works?
Mm.
Because if you told yourself you're going to do this and you do it, you're the boss.
Mm.
But anybody who runs around pointing fingers and telling everybody that, and you don't do what you do,
There's something that crossed my mind that I think you'll like, because you talked about the water spill. There is a saying I read that your size as a man is equal to what you allow to irritate you.
mm,
That's your size. So if the water spill pissed you off, that's your size, is a water spill.
wow, that's good.
But if it's about somebody hurting your kids, then we can say that's worth
Yeah.
irritating you. It's your kids. But a water spill, Terry, really? Is that your size? So then when I say that to myself, because I get frustrated at work, or I'm like, Anna, seriously?
Yeah.
Really, that's your size?
Mm,
Delayed email? Like, really, Anas?
mm,
You can say it's unacceptable,
yeah.
I'm upset,
Yes.
but you don't need your emotions to go. Like, emotions is another thing. You can say, I don't accept this delay.
That's right.
That's very different, like, and you're upset and you're in a funk.
Yeah.
Really? That easy? Or are you that easy?
I know.
And when you start to say that, you're like, shit, that's not, no, no, I can't, like, I can't accept this on me,
You're so right.
you
And
know?
but see, this to me, listen, man, the day my wife left
Mm.
was the worst day and the best day all at once. because I was finally forced to really see myself for who I was. And my wife was never, listen, my wife, we've been married 36 years now. Okay, this ring is $200. It's a $200 nugget. She's always been honest with me, man. And I look at her, and I was talking to her today, this morning, and I was like, we are one. Like, I don't know where I end and you begin. And I say, thank you for just being honest with me and loving me. And you know what's funny? Is she respects me, you know? Because men need respect. First of all, we want respect more than love. You know what I mean? We want honor. And I started this whole thing. I said, first of all, I'm a man, okay? And I want my family's respect. I want them to look at me and go, that's my dad. That's my husband. That's my guy. I don't want them to be disrespected by my family or my people I work with or anybody. Hey man, that's something men gotta have. You have to have that. And she was awesome at that. You understand? Like even in the middle of all the things I was going through, she respected me. And it allowed me to continue to love her. And we got closer during all this dark time as we grew, and that's what allowed her to come back. But it made it, like I said, it's something that we've been through where it's like a bone. When it heals, it's stronger here. You know what I mean? Wherever it broke, it gets stronger there. It'll never break there again. You know what I mean? And that's how I feel. And I'm so thankful. And again, it fills me with more gratitude because I've seen people they've been taken out by things like this, and never recovered. And I just look and I just go, oh my God, thank God. Thank God every day.
You've been married for 36 years. What has worked for you?
Wow. Like I said, I mean, I think the honesty, the fact that she can tell me anything, like she can tell me who I am, we go home and she's honest, like, that didn't work. And I'll go, oh yeah, okay. But we can talk to each other that way. Um, one thing that I learned that really changed uh, is that it's impossible to love someone and control them at the same time. What happens is we've mixed love and control. Um, where I'm gonna tell you this, the reason I even was dishonest with my wife was an attempt to control her. Meaning I didn't tell her the truth about myself simply because I didn't if she knew, she would have left earlier. So as a control tactic, I knew to not say the truth. I couldn't because because I felt like, and this is the craziest thing, and this is what I learned in therapy. I felt if she knew the real me, she would she would hate me, and she, you know what she told me? And this was years ago when we were just going. She said, Terry, it was the biggest lie. She said, Terry, a lie I believed. She said, Terry, if you'd have told me I'd have helped you. I said, what? I said, are you kidding? She said, if you had told me you were going through these things, that's what I'm here for. But I'm thinking if I tell her I got to code this image because I got to hold all the plates up and make it look like, no, I don't need your help. I got it. I got it. She's like, but can you sure? I'm like, no, I got it. I got it. And I don't have it. She's like, if you would have told me, I would have helped you. And I said, but my attempt to control was messing that up. But now, and this is the thing, love doesn't involve control. Like if I locked her in a cage in the basement, that's not love. You know what and vice versa.
And the thing is, there's a lot of virtual cages.
Yeah.
You made a joke of it, but it's so true. In
You
relationship,
see?
there are virtual cages. Here.
Virtual cages.
Yeah.
Listen, if she doesn't want to be there, Is it love?
Like, I don't understand, Terry. Sometimes I hear these different relationships where, for example, the guy goes, "Send me a picture, show me who you're with." Control, right?
Yeah,
And no trust and
yeah,
toxic traits. And she's like, "Oh, I'm like, zoom out. Like, do you know where the fuck you are? Like, do
yeah,
you realize what, like, if you were looking at you
yep,
20 years later, and I showed you this clip of you at the restaurant with your girlfriends or whatever, and you saw you take a picture to prove you're good, like, would you be disappointed in that girl?
wow,
But because they're in it, it's foggy.
yes,
And they think, oh, this is normal, he loves me. And then it's all control. Like, I
right?
love what you said. People associate control with love, and it's actually the opposite. If
It
I allow Terry to be free and liberated and I still love you, now we talk about love.
Now it's love. Now it's love.
Yeah, with your kinks, with everything.
That's it.
Dirt, beauty.
That's it.
Man, that's so, like, that's crazy. So
Isn't that
there
crazy?
were two Terrys technically. There was the Terry before she left,
Yeah.
and there was the Terry after. And what I saw when you were just explaining, you felt so liberated when that therapist told you, like, this is not really you.
Yeah.
Like, you're not bad, Terry.
Yeah.
You might do a habit that's bad, but it's not you.
That's right.
And that dissociation, I think, made it relieved you.
It did. I never knew that because I just thought I was bad. I just thought it
Mm,
was me. You see?
mm,
Isn't that wild? It's very subtle, you know? But you start to go, oh my God. You know, one thing I learned, like there's nothing really difficult. It's just desire. It, when you want to do something, it's not difficult because you love it.
mm,
But if you don't want to do something, it's extremely difficult. You see what I mean?
mm,
So what I've learned is is to work with the desire, meaning that's why I was like, it's very, very important you to find out what you want because then the effort will come.
mm,
But if you don't know what you want, it's hard to get effort. It's hard to get energy for what you're doing. You know what
mm,
I mean?
mm,
And these little subtle differences are pivotal, man. Like I said, the fact that I thought it was me, oh my God. And it was watershed. Like when he said it, I was like, no, 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 wait. Say that again. Like, I remember like asking him to repeat it. And he says, Terry, what you did was bad. We're not excusing any of that. But that's not you. And I had never heard that before in my life. I had been to church and never heard that. I had been to school and never heard that. I heard everything was, it's you, it's you, it's you.
And that's also the shaming culture that you can come from. Like, I come from a very religious also
Hmm.
household, no music, no this, no that, right? And for me, even religion and God, I have some sensitivity when it's so much based on the fear of God rather than the love of God.
Yeah,
Like, if that's all I tell a child, fear God, shame on you, no, wrong, haram, or forbidden, or. I remember listening to music, Terry, on, like, let's say it's a two-way journey. So let's say 2 hours going, 2 hours coming. One way I would listen to music.
hmm,
On the other way, I would repent, saying things to, because of the shame I felt going listening to music.
I
And
know.
I'm like, should should religion ever be taught that way instead of love?
Yeah,
Like, I don't think God wants that. Like, you shouldn't do things because you're scared.
yeah,
You should do because you love God.
that's
Like,
right.
I love you and I want to show great gratitude and I want to pray because I'm so appreciative and thank you. Not I have to pray because I'll go to hell.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like that approach. I don't know.
But think about that. It's still love and control.
Mm,
Does God love you or does he want to control you? You see what I mean? It's two different things. And when you're in fear, it's control.
mm,
And
yeah.
when you're in love,
It's
It's
beautiful. If
beautiful.
I call you out of love, it's very different than I call you out of fear.
You see what I
I'm like,
mean?
man, I miss you. How are you? Good. And you're like, oh, you don't want anything. There's no fear. You're not scared. I didn't tell you you have to call me once a week, you know?
You see?
I
You
love
see?
the idea. I think it's, and I always tell people, if you're afraid of your parents, the moment they go on a vacation, you're gonna, have a party and do everything in that house because you don't give a shit. The fear gone. The fear is gone. Or your boss at work. You
Yep,
take that fear out.
yep,
They went on leave.
yep.
You're gonna fuck shit up in the
Yeah,
office.
yep,
For sure.
yep.
Now, if you respect your boss or you
Yes,
respect your parent, no house party.
right,
No, I'm not gonna work because he's on leave. No,
right.
I respect my boss. I respect what he stands
That's
for.
right,
And that's respect is when you leave the room.
right.
Do people still talk good about you?
Yes,
That's
dude,
respect. Not when you're there,
you're right.
you know?
Listen, man, these are the subtleties I started to really examine, and it took a lot of time. And what
Mm,
I mean time is, there's times a lot of time sitting alone. One thing I love even now, like when I do business trips and everything, sitting in the hotel room and just thinking
mm,
about who I am. What are the things I observed today? How did I feel? What did this make me feel? Did I feel weird when I came up to this person, or did another person? Because this thing, sometimes we don't understand how we're acting because it's deep,
mm,
and I notice there are times where people make me feel uncomfortable, and I don't know that till later.
mm,
You know what I mean? You can go,
mm,
I didn't
mm,
replaying that.
mm,
Why do I feel weird on that? There
mm,
was some manipulation there. There was
mm,
something, one thing that guys do, they're like, they'll say something real sly and like, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Why are you making us look bad? Working out every day. You're like, that have anything to do with you.
mm,
I work out for me.
mm,
You know what I mean? Like, but that's subtle,
mm,
very subtle
mm,
jabs and things because maybe he feels guilty. He didn't do something.
mm,
But that ain't got nothing to do with me. And I'm starting to, but I'm getting really good for those little, oh, okay, that's what that is.
mm,
Whereas before I used to be like, and now after you examine these things and talk about these
mm,
things, but see, what you brought up, I remember being in college, I was so tied in, I threw away all my music. And I felt like it was a sacrifice for God, you know? And I regretted every minute of it. Later, I was like, "Oh," because that's when I had cassette tapes and all this
man,
stuff. But I felt like, "Oh, man," because I would listen and I would feel guilty. And you go, and it's a horrible place to be.
shame, man. Shame never works. It
It
just
doesn't.
reduces your children's self-esteem. We're gonna die, and you just left somebody who's feeble, who doesn't have a character. What does that do for anyone? Fear and shame. Like, if you actually love your kid, that's what you want instilled.
Right,
You install that software in them.
dude. It's I like I said, I love living as the integrity, like having integrity is being one person, meaning what I say. And this is another thing. It's not about self-esteem. It's not about I'm good, I'm doing good. No, 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 no. And when I say, these things are not me or whatever, it's about self-acceptance,
Mm,
which is a whole different thing.
mm,
I'm not perfect, by the way. Oh man, I accept the fact that, yeah, I'll get angry at certain things. And I have to watch that.
mm,
You know, I accept the fact that I'm cranky at this time, or yeah, I didn't speak to these people right, or yeah, it's about being human.
mm,
And self-acceptance means you also accept the good things you did today. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, I
mm,
handled that great. That was good.
mm,
You know what I mean? And
mm,
listen, man, it's all you. It's literally like all the
mm,
good stuff. The reason you're sitting right here is because you did that.
mm,
You know what I mean? But also, when something slipped up, you probably did that too. But these are behaviors. These are things that you can adjust.
mm,
These are things where I'll fix that tomorrow.
mm,
You know what? I'm not gonna do that again.
mm,
It ain't you. You know what I mean? It's like If you have a habit of not paying your bills and you're like, I'm just not a bill payer, you're like, no. No,
You
what
know,
you got to do is start paying your bills.
somebody told me something interesting. He said, it's funny how, let's say we talk to a chain smoker, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, I think you should stop smoking because you know how bad it is for you and da 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 da. And he's like, yeah, it's so hard. I'm so addicted. It'll take time. I'll start with reducing from 3 packs to 2 and then 2 to 1. But if I say, listen, if you smoke 1 more pack, you'd die tomorrow. Suddenly this guy stopped. Like, wow, okay. So priority changed.
That's
So
right.
it depends how much priority you put to change.
That's right.
It's not you need 6 months
That's
to stop
right.
smoking. Yes, it's harder to stop suddenly. We agree.
Yep.
It's an addiction. You need to stop. I'm not saying you have to stop in a day.
That's
I'm
right.
saying, how much do you want it?
Yep. It's that difficulty thing. It's literally like things aren't difficult if you want it.
Mm,
All of a sudden you're like, okay, I don't want to die. And
it's more
that's
important now.
yeah. And all of a sudden you're like, I'm done. You know what happened to me, man? This is so funny. It's a great example. I used to bite my nails all the time. Like I was a
Mm,
big nail biter. Dude, and I'm an actor, so I'm ready to go to filming and all this stuff. And I bit my nail and my tooth chipped.
shit.
And I went, ah! Like a piece of my tooth came off and I had to film the next morning and I had to go in for emergency
Mm,
dentistry that morning. And I was like, and they did some bonding just to
mm,
make it look. Dude, I was done biting my nails.
mm.
I
Prior-
was cured,
priority.
cured.
Mm.
That panic, I was like, oh no, I can't afford to like running around on camera with a chipped tooth. That was nuts. Man, I when I get them near my mouth, I'm like, it instantly cured me. And I had been biting my nails since a kid.
It's crazy. Like, if you think about it, how much you want to do that vice, if there's something that you want a bit more, you'll stop. It's just
Yes,
that. Like,
yes.
if you're, like you said, you wanted acting and no
Yep,
problems in acting and you don't want to screw up your career,
yep.
you wanted that more than a nail bite.
That's right.
So you're like, no. You know?
It's so true.
It's
It's
crazy.
funny,
But
but
as
it's
long as
real.
it's less and there are no consequences, you're gonna keep biting your nails.
That's it. That's it. Isn't that
Um,
cool? That's a
no.
funny story, but it's
Mm,
such a great example. It's not
yeah.
like life or death, but man, I
Mm.
go, oh my God, now I get mani pedis and I'm good.
Question, what, you talk a lot about this. What does masculinity mean to you?
Wow. It's a lot of what we talked about today, but masculinity is self-acceptance.
Hmm.
You know, it's accepting your manhood. It says you're not perfect. Don't try to be, you know, but also, being a real man to me is finding the challenge, man. Like we're designed to explore. I look up to people and read stories about great men that make my heart go, wow. Look, there was a book, The Wright Brothers.
Hmm.
Brother, if you've never read this book
The ones who created
by
flight?
David McCullough, The
Hmm.
Wright Brothers,
Hmm.
dude, this book, it changed my life. I went, these guys were they would create bicycles,
Hmm.
but they knew that they wanted to fly. So they kept working on these prototypes.
Hmm.
Dude, they went and they would go to the banks of the river and look at birds and act like birds. And people used to point at them and laugh at them. But they were studying what birds did, how they floated on the air. And they kept creating. They took an engine, a bike engine that was like a little like motorcycle-ish thing, and they were like, okay, if we get enough speed, we can get it. And they worked on this thing, and then they failed over and over again. Listen, this is the best part of the story. They went to North Carolina all the way to Kitty Hawk, and it failed. They took the train back to Ohio, is where they
Hmm.
were, and they said, we quit. They said, we're done. Can't do it. It's impossible to fly. And dude, they got up the next morning. He looked at his brother. He said, you want to go try again? He said, yes. That's a man.
Hmm.
Do you hear me?
Hmm.
That's a man.
Hmm.
He said, yes. They quit.
Hmm.
They said they were done. I read this book. I was like, what? He said, we're done. We'll never do it again. And they got up the next morning like,
Hmm.
yeah, we're going back. Dude, thank God they did.
Yeah, imagine.
Think about this. We wouldn't be able to get on a plane.
You wouldn't be in
Today,
Dubai.
today, we
Mm,
would not, it wouldn't happen. Dude, they did it.
mm,
They blew. And that everyone was telling them it couldn't happen. And I went, it's just they figured the rule. All problems have solutions.
mm,
This is what men are. We are solution finders.
mm,
That's what I love about being a man.
mm,
You know what I mean? Like the fun part is finding the solution. When you get it and go, yes,
mm,
there's nothing better than that, man.
mm,
It's like, to me, scoring a goal, you found a solution
mm,
for a team. You understand what I mean?
mm,
Everybody, give me the ball. I have the solution.
mm.
When you have a great discovery or a great thing or be an explorer, can you imagine getting in a boat and going and never knowing if you ever come back? That's a man. You understand? That's, bruh, when you get in a boat and you don't know, you don't even know what's out there.
Mm.
Brother, to me, that's how I want to live. Get on a boat. Let's pack as much as we can. Let's do our thing. Let's trust each other. Let's do our jobs. And let's find a solution and let's get there.
But you already did it, and I'll tell you when. I'll tell you when. You remember what you just told me, that when you were doing these auditions and you get these jobs, and you had to think, like, I can't screw this up
Yeah,
because you have nothing to go back to,
right? Burn
right?
the boats.
So you burn the boats.
Yeah.
So you go all in. That's why you did well. You got accepted in auditions. It's not easy to get accepted in auditions.
No.
Some people get rejected over 50, 100.
Oh, I've been rejected a lot, but to get it and
Mm,
keep, but it's an adventure. We're exploring.
mm,
I'm still exploring, man.
mm,
This is why I like going to new countries,
mm,
new places. Now Dubai is familiar. The first time I was like, where am I? This is a whole new world. You know what I'm saying?
mm.
And I love it. I love it.
Okay, what does love mean to you? We talked a lot about love and
Wow.
your 36 years and.
Love for me, it's what's what I understand is love. It's the glue that holds the universe together. It's more than just because there's different types. You know what I mean? Um, it's the thing that keeps you from hurting yourself and hurting other people, but it also wants you. It's the thing that helps you to bless yourself and bless other people. Because when you're talking about love, there has to be a concern for all of us in order to get to for us to feel even greatness about ourselves.
Mm,
You know what I mean? To me, love ties in, it's the glue. Every law, every rule, everything is circumcised by love.
mm,
The reason you don't want to run that stop sign is because you may hurt someone. And why don't you want to hurt someone? Is because deep down you want to love them. You understand?
mhm,
Because you see that's someone's family and you don't know them, but you have to love them. You see what I mean?
mm,
And love and respect is tied together. The reason you want to obey these laws. And every time something doesn't go right and whatever, the love of someone is at risk. You know what I mean? It's like when when you're not doing the right thing, you're not loving people,
mm,
you know? And love is service. It is. Every time you get and look, and that's another thing. People have been like, well, they're making money. There's nothing wrong with making money. There's absolutely nothing wrong with making money if you're loving people.
mm,
Because this is the thing too. A rising tide lifts all boats. There's no end to if everyone is loving each other and everyone is growing and everyone think about this. Money is a figment of our imagination. All money uh is value given, value received. When you value
Mm,
someone, what do? You
mm,
love them.
mm,
You know what I'm saying? That's
mm,
it's all I give you value in exchange for the value you give me, which is love, literally.
mm,
It's literally like, hey man, I need this. And you have this. I love you. Here you go. I
mm,
love you. Thank you.
mm.
Here you go.
It's like stand-up comedy.
You
You
see
pay to go and feel better and laugh.
it?
Mhm.
Yes, yes.
You need
It's
it because you need to feel better, and they can provide it. And
dude, nothing like that's a beautiful relationship.
mm,
You know what I'm saying?
mm,
And that's where, let me tell you, like when I started hosting, I remember America's Got Talent, and I love being the host because all those acts, they come in there and they are coming from all over the world. And this is a dream for them, and we're the flagship, like America's Got Talent. It's
mm,
all over the world. So when they come in, I talk to them and I understand, and I don't want, I know it's intimidating.
mm,
So my whole goal is to like, listen, I have you. I'm here for you. I will make sure you have the best, like whatever you need, I'm here to support you. If you need me to give you something, if you need a glass of water before you sing, I'm here to give it to you. Whatever you need from me, but I'm here to protect you.
mm.
And it's so amazing to watch them go, oh, I thought they were here to use, you feel like they're gonna be mean, you feel like they're gonna be cool. Now they may get out there and not like it.
Mm.
And that's the judges, but I'm not the judge. I'm the host. And my job is to love them.
And to give them the best chance they have.
That's it. I love you.
Mm,
Let me lay it all out for you. Make sure everything's clean. What do you need? Is there anything I can do for you? And to even support you from the side.
mm,
That's my job.
mm,
You know what I mean? Because I know how much you're risking by being here. Because that's how I felt coming out to LA, you know?
mm,
But that is why we're still on. That's why it's 20 years. That's the stuff that people go, why do I like this show so much?
mm.
Because they know they're like, wow, it's beautiful to watch. You know what I mean? People go from relative obscurity to famous overnight.
It's beautiful.
It's a beautiful thing, man.
Mm,
Dreams. You know what I mean? We all have them.
mm.
And you can have some, that's bigger than money. It's better than money. To give somebody a dream,
Kareem, can I have the Cocology card and the ABtalks? All right. So first we'll go with this. Um, what's the most hurtful thing someone has ever told you?
oh, most hurtful thing.
Mm,
Mm, mm. I don't know if it was hurtful because it was true. So it hurt,
mm,
but I needed to hear it. I'll never forget when I was a kid, we were on the bus and we were on a school trip, and I was not good with hygiene. And it wasn't hurt. Like I said, I had a sweater on. I thought I looked good, the whole thing, but I didn't use any deodorant. And people were going, ooh, something's on this bus, and I didn't know.
mm,
And I'll never forget, I think this is what it was because my friend that was next to me was like doing this the whole time. And I was just oblivious. And we finally got to Washington, D.C., where we were going. And I went into my room and I was like 14 years old. And one of the girls on the bus called me and she said, Terry, she said, everyone was talking about you. And what was hurtful was not that she was actually not hurting me, but what was hurtful is that my friend who was next to me didn't say it.
mm.
and that hurt
Mm,
because he was there the whole time, and all he had to be like, "Man, look, man, it's you," and
mm,
because this is my friend.
mm,
But it was someone else who came outside and said they were talking about you. And I was like,
mm.
wow, hurtful.
We'll do one of this.
Okay,
Can you mix this?
okay.
All right.
Let's see.
Mix
I'm
it and
not
I'll
good.
choose
I'm not a
one.
card
You got
player. I don't gamble either, so I don't know how to switch these cards good.
it's enough.
There we go.
I got you. Let's see what you get.
Okay,
This is a question I wanted to ask either way.
okay.
If you had a chance to change the family you were born into, would you change it?
No.
Throw this?
What do I do?
It's the way of answering.
I just do it. Oh,
Yeah.
let that go.
What does it say? Flip.
Flip.
So both of us. But anyways, you start.
Okay. I
No?
would never change
Why?
because uh, everything that I am now was because of this. I kind of mentioned it before.
Mm,
Um, and years ago, I had a meeting with my dad,
okay.
and I told him, and it was part of my therapy, and one thing I learned. But I had to find one thing that I could be thankful for.
Mm,
And I called him, and I said, we call him Big Terry. His name is Terry. I'm Terry too, so he was Big Terry. So I said, Big Terry, I said, I'm thankful that you are my father because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't exist. And he cried. He said, thank you. But I knew that, and that's true. Because remember, everything that's in me was in him, and it's true.
mm,
If there had been another parent, I'd be a different person. But the only way I could be here, and this is another thing I like to say, is that we don't come from our parents, we come through them, which is different. You come through them. And there's ways to get, sometimes that road is rocky, but I didn't come from them. Like, they're not God, My parents are not God, and I can say that. But God put me on this earth through them,
mm,
and now I can live my life. But this was the path I had to come through.
mm.
First of all, imagine I'm born in America, which is a big, big advantage
Yes.
just in being in the world. You know what I mean? No matter what happened as when I was young, I was born in America. That's a plus, you know? I was born in the time that I was born in. I wasn't born during slavery. I was born in the late 60s, which was a different time,
Mm,
And I'm like, there's a lot of things I can look at like, woof, that could have been a whole different thing. You know what I mean? It's so I'm
mm.
thankful.
If you could, you lost your mom, right?
Yeah, 2015.
Sorry to hear that.
Thank you.
If you could call her today, what would you tell her? And if she picks up,
Wow. I would say, you know, I would literally tell her that now I know she knows everything about everything because she's in heaven. And I would want to apologize for the times that I may have blamed her because she did the best she could. And I don't think we had that opportunity while she was around. Um, and that I don't hold her at any fault because there was a time when I used to feel like she should have left my father, you know? But if she did, she was a woman. She's on her own. She's trying to do her thing, and there's only so much you can do. You know what I mean? And like I said, my father went to work. At least we had a home.
mm,
Um, but there was times I resented my mother for staying. There was a time I resented my mother for being religious. Remember that? But I also have to say, like, mom, she literally saved my life by being that strict. You know? Because who's to say if she would have let me go out and do all this crazy stuff, there was so many friends and so many people I went to school with that ended up in jail or dead, and that wasn't me. So again, she was doing the best she could, and I would thank her for doing the best she could.
Mm. You know, I read something that was so heartfelt. I read that while watching the Carol Burnett show, you would look to see what made your mom laugh
Yeah,
and thought I'll make her laugh like that one
I
day.
did. I did. That listen, you have to understand, there would be times when my mother would be on the couch nursing a wound that my father gave her, and she would have like some cold frozen peas or vegetables, and she would put it on her eye, and we watch Carol Burnett, and I would replay different things. I would dance for her and do little jokes, and she would laugh so hard. And I knew I had a superpower. I knew that if I could make her feel this good in the middle of this dark time, that was powerful, and I knew I could do that.
Mm,
And it's funny because I do that. I know I can do that for the world as well, you know?
mm,
In the middle of very, very dark things, when people go, oh, and they can smile. It's funny, we were playing that song and I saw her, the young lady here, she just was so happy. You know what I mean?
mm.
Like, imagine if I was like, no, I'm not doing it. No, no, no.
You told me you wanted to tell me a story about that song.
Oh, about 1,000 Miles?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah. No, I was just saying that the good thing is about the song was that, you know, it changed the way people saw big black men
Mm,
because the role for a long time,
mm,
people would saw me as a very intimidating, like big, strong. I would have been action movie, big guy and tough. Like a lot
mm,
of my roles, like before, were tough guys and all this stuff. And so that it was the perfect setup. So as people looked in the movie and they were like, "Look at him, he's in it." And as soon as I sang that song, people were like, "What?" Like you have to understand, comedy is about a revelation. Comedy
mm,
is it's you laugh because it's a surprise. It's not what you expect.
mm,
What people were expecting was for me to go like, "What? Get out of here with that." But when I was like, "I loved it."
yeah.
Listen, people in the theater they were like, I'll never forget, my life changed forever.
Mm,
People were looking like, "Oh." Like, you can't see me the same way.
mm,
I was in training day too,
mm.
and I ruined training day for a lot of people because they're like, "Hey, that's the guy with a white chick."
Mm,
And I will tell you this, and this is one thing that is a fact.
mm,
It's hard for you to remember a lot of dramas
mm,
because dramas are sad and different, but you never ever forget what made you belly laugh.
mm.
Ever.
That's
If you were
true.
like, "Oh, that's so fun," like if you were laughing, you can't forget it. It's like those things will always bring you back.
Mm,
It's almost like and the thing is, mixed with a laugh and a great song, you know where you were when you hear a song. Like a time in your life, and you go, "No, that's my son." Yeah, I remember where I was. I
mm,
remember when I was standing when I heard that song. To tie these things in is very powerful, very, very powerful. And so,
mm,
Vanessa Carlton has given me permission. She's like, Terry, you can sing that song anywhere, anytime. And I've never ever, I truly do love it because and I think that's one reason why it's become one of those billions play, 1 billion
mm,
plays on Spotify. It's one of the most successful songs of all time because people remember where they were and when they laughed and how it made them feel. And even to see this young lady just start cracking up, like, oh, she was so happy. To me, that's my
mm.
goal. That's what I do.
Okay. Now imagine this. You have 5 kids, you said, yeah?
5 kids, yeah.
So if you're gone after, inshallah, we say inshallah, so like God willing, you got a really good life, a long life, a healthy one,
Yes.
and we're gone. I'm gone, you're gone. And your kids know about this interview and they go through their trials, their tribulations, but they know this YouTube video exists and they need their dad from time to time, at least to hear something, because they miss him, because he's not there. They can call you, but they can skip to this part.
Mm.
What do you feel your children need to hear?
Wow. What would I say to them, or what do they need
What
to
do you
do?
feel your kids, every time they play this
Yeah.
part, well, no matter what they're going through in life, they need to hear from dad?
Mm. What I would say to my kids is that always, always, always do your best. Always lead with love. Always give your full heart to anything and everything you do, because this is what we do. You come from me, and this is the only way you have anything you have in your life is because it came from this heart, this passion. And it's your job to pass that same heart on to the rest of the world, to your kids, to the rest of the world. This is the way of our family. We don't have any other way. We lead with love and we lead with our heart. And the thing is that people will that I will be forgotten, but what you do will never be forgotten.
Mm.
That's what people forget. What you've done for other people will never, ever be forgotten. Your name, but all your heart, all your soul, all your passion just grows.
Mm.
That's what I want my kids to know. And that's the best way to live your best life. And you will always be happy doing that.
Last one. Terry in one word.
Well, that's hard. um, One word. Hmm. Passion.
Mm. It's
That's
very
it.
true.
I am 100% all in.
Can I add one?
Yeah.
I'm curious. When was the last time you hugged your dad?
Hmm. Probably 10 years ago.
Mm.
It was 10 years ago. It was when my mother passed away. She
Wow,
passed away in 2015.
I know. Is that a sad thing to think of? That it was 10 years ago, or you've accepted it?
I've accepted it. I've accepted it. Um, you have to understand, like, you know, we talked a little bit about sometimes it's hard to deal with family and different
Mm.
things. Um, but we also have to accept that people do move on. Um, I also have had to deal with the fact that there are a lot of family members that I had to move on from
Mm.
because they don't have your best interests at heart. My father used to have access to me and would call me and he would berate me. And I realized that this is not going to do anybody any good.
Mm.
Because remember the shame and different things. And I told you when people would point at me and you say, nope, that's not me. And there was a lot of times my father would still try to put shame on me. And I won't let him do it. And I had to keep distance. Healthy.
Mm.
It was just healthy.
I agree.
And so he literally has my assistant's number. And if he needs something, I tell him to call my assistant and we'll talk about it.
Mm.
Send in an invoice, you know. But there's times I don't. There's very few people I only let people that I trust very close to be that close. You know, I guard my heart.
Good.
Because that's another thing. When you're talking about this kind of passion, it can be manipulated. So
You're
I
a
have
good.
to always guard. Okay, no, not you. No, you. It's okay. It-
Are you being a hugging dad?
oh yeah, I'm a hugger. I'm a hugger.
Good.
I listen. I love my kid. Me and my son, we hug. We love each other. My daughters. I'm
I'm
just
proud, man.
thankful.
I'm proud of you
Oh, thank you, brother.
because 999 people in your shoes would have went down. You're the one that chose to take the poison and make something of it and burn it in the right way.
Thank you.
You know,
Thank
it's
you.
not easy.
Not,
Mm.
but who? Listen, it's an adventure. You know, it's not easy, but that's the challenge, right? You know what I mean? I got to get up in the morning and hit the challenge. You know, and if it was easy, it's kind of like you don't want to wake up and have the championship. You want to have your jersey dirty. Like I know from playing sports, man, you don't want to be like fresh. You want to
Mm.
be tired. You know, I like at the end of the game when you're like, I did everything, and then you win. It's the best feeling in the world.
And that's how you should exit life, in giving it your all. And I know you will.
That's it.
You know, I think that's what maybe should be written on your tombstone. He gave it his all.
That's it. That's it. That's good. That's good.
I appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
brother. Thank you.
Thank
This
you.
is really great.
So, Terry, how are you really doing?
Making my way downtown, walking fast, faces past, and I'm homebound. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. And I need you, and I miss you, and now I wonder if I could fall into the sky.
I think that's gonna be nice.
Yeah, there we go, there we go. Hey,
We said
you
the
gotta
energy.
give us some peck pops too. See, that's like, you gotta add that in there. You know, whatever you want, man.